I just want to break that down a little bit. You said that you used to trade in an internet cafe. Traders, welcome back to another trading interview. Today I've got a fantastic trader who's going to give you their story and their experience in the markets. So I don't know if you want to give yourself a quick introduction into who you are, where you are, and a little bit of your trading background overall.
Hi, Chris. My name is Zakir Hussain. I'm in London. I was born and brought up in London. I have a full-time job and I thought about doing trading on the side. I started many, many years ago when we didn't have internet connection at home. So I used to go to the internet cafe. And from then on, these days it's so different. You got everything on your phone. Slowly, I've been getting the hang of it and I'm still learning, learning trading never stops. And a couple of months ago, I come across BluFx and I thought, they sound quite good and everything. I saw interviews with other people and I saw many videos of BluFx and how it works. So I thought I'll give this a go. And I joined in end of April, 29th of April, to be exact.
Okay,
And then it's only been a few weeks and I'm very happy to be taking my first 5% payout.
that's really interesting. I just want to break that down a little bit. You said that you used to trade in an internet cafe.
Many years ago, like 20 years ago, man.
Wow. Okay. Do you know what? I'm just old enough. I'm just young enough to remember dial-up internet and how that used to be, and to think back to those times, like how things have progressed, technology in general. But to think
Yes.
you were placing trades in an internet cafe, even if it was many years ago, that's insane, man. That's really, really cool. That must have been quite hard, though, right?
It was very hard because I used to go for a couple of hours because after university and that, after doing your coursework and homework and everything, if I had a chance, I used to go there. And back then, I used to trade with the IG index
Okay.
and I used to trade oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've done some oil trading in my time. That's where I started as well. Funnily enough, I started with some stocks and stuff, but I started with oil as well. I don't know what it drew. Something drew me to oil. I kind of liked it for some reason.
Yeah. Now someone advised me on oil. So they said, if you do it, this is a quick mover. And, I didn't have that much knowledge back then. And yeah, I didn't make much, but it was an experience, and that's where gradually, it built up from there.
Interesting, interesting. And at this point in time, are you trading full time? Are you managing a full time job? Like, what's your like day to day routine at the moment?
I work as a machine engineer in a production factory. That's the full-time job, and it's on shift. So a week I'm on a late shift. The next week I'm going to be on early shift.
Hmm.
I might be on night shift for a couple of nights. And trading, because it's on the phone these days, I can't say I'm trading full time, but I'm on there full
Hmm. You've
time.
got an eye. You've got an
Um,
eye on it. Yeah.
yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. If I do put a trade on, then I keep a track of it. And so far, so good. It's manageable. And at work, where I work, I've been there for a few years, so I do have a few minutes here and there to check my trades and go outside and have a look at stuff and have a look at the news, and
Hmm.
I can manage.
Interesting. And actually, you're the perfect person to ask actually because I'm obviously working full time at the moment and I have a job as well. And I'm doing loads of things in the day. Even like back in the day, from when I started trading, I've always had other things to do. Whether it was trading for me, I guess I kind of looked at it like I want to have a way that I can be trading as well as doing other things with my time. Even stuff like doing leisure stuff with my family or working generally or doing other bits and bobs business things. So I kind of wanted to devise a system where I wouldn't have to be sat at my charts all day long because I think there's a lot of misconception sometimes within the markets that you have to be sat at your charts like watching every tick of movement. Do you trade like higher time frames? How do you manage that? Is there like a particular time frame you follow?
I,
Because for me, I stick on the like four, usually the hourly, sometimes the four and the daily. Because anything less than that, it just gets. I have to be at the charts all the time, or more often than I'd like to be.
that is right because I used to look at the 30 minutes chart,
Mm,
and 30-minute chart I was on for a very long time.
mm,
At the moment, I trade by using the 1 hour chart,
mm.
but just to confirm all the settings and everything, I do look at the 4 hour chart and I do look at the daily. And even the 1 hour chart, it's not something which is quickly in and out like how it would be on a 15-minute chart or a 30
Right.
minute chart. It gives you a few hours at least for the 1 hour chart. And some trades are put on and it's there for a few days, there for three days, four
On the
days.
hourly, you're managing trades for 3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the key is, I think, to be patient, and it will get there eventually.
I think with trading in general, patience is so important. But I
Yeah.
think one thing that I love about trading is the flexibility you have in a way, because if you want to be, if you're capable and your system is built around the 5, 15 minute, 30-minute scalping strategy, that's great. But sounds like me and you are on the same page here, and we both have other bits to be getting on with, which means the higher time frames are better suited for us. To be honest with you, you could give me all the time in the world, but I still would rather trade the higher time frame. But I feel like personally, my system works better. I feel like my strike rate is better. But trading those higher time frames, I think fundamentally it just gives you your time back. So it's always good to hear from another trader who trades those higher time frames. And you can be in trades for like 2, 3 days sometimes. Like you can
Yes.
open one up with BluFx, start of the week. You can close it out towards the end of the week. You can be in trades even on the hourly. If you can get a really good move and start on get inside a trend, when you get a signal to go, honestly, I've been maintaining trades for 2, 3 days before, and just cashing in pips all the way, especially in trending conditions. So it's definitely good to hear. Now, I wanted to ask you a further question. You said you joined BluFx back in April and you've had payout already. What do you think is, I mean, that's incredible to have payout so quickly. What do you think is your secret to your success in that way? Is there something you've been doing, or is it a certain element of your system that you think is the most important? Perhaps you think your risk structure is the most important part. Perhaps you think about maybe managing and trading psychology. Is there like something that you attribute this great success to?
It's nice to say that. It's nice to hear what you're saying, but for me, I think I could have done better.
Mm,
And it's to do with risk, and it's, I think for me, it's to do with controlling the greed.
of course.
You know, when you see, I mean, sometimes I I look back on the history of my trades, and I think I could have done this and I could have done that. And the reason is because I didn't do it because maybe I was a bit too greedy,
Mm,
or I looked at the chart for the daily and I went in on the hourly chart time frame. And you know, I I don't know.
I think I know what you mean. I think like
Greed, I think, is the main thing. I mean, I could see, thinking about a couple of weeks ago, if when I'm not greedy, I could take small amounts of profits.
mm,
And end of the day, it's $100, maybe $150, maybe. I mean, the other day I done $187, and I was very happy, and I was very happy. And that day I done that within a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, and I thought, that's it now. That's it for the day. If I'm
mm,
too good now, I'd probably lose what I've gained.
right.
So I kept. Then the following day is a different day, different charts, so a different start, new beginning. So if I think if you take it from there and do one thing at a time, and then just take what you have, and try not to make everything in one day, which
I
is
think
very tempting. Which is very tempting.
Yeah, sure. I think like taking things one step at a time, especially within trading, understanding it's a marathon. It's certainly not a sprint. I feel like if I know that you've been watching, I'm very proud to say that you've been watching my Day in the Life series on YouTube. And
Yeah.
part of my system on that, part of my system for a very long time, obviously now I'm showcasing it on YouTube as part of that series, is that I scale out of my positions. What I'll tend to do is I'll have two positions. I will take my exposure, what I want on the trade. I'll cut it in half, and I'll put two positions on, which means that I can have two separate take profits. So I have my first price target where one of my positions is taken off, and the other half of the trade is left to run. Now the reason why I do that is because, as you say, and it's so true that you have to like protect your profits. Like there's no point making $100 one day if you lose 150 the next. And having something in your system to mean that you're protecting those profits, whether that's taking your stop to break even, having a trailing stop, or anything in your system that just protects your profits. Because especially when you're trading on the hourly chart, or even, especially on lower time frames, it just takes one freak news event. You've got a great trade going on, then there's a big shock in the markets. You've lost the whole trade, and you're now in drawdown. So having a system to say, like, at this point in time when this happens, I'm going to be moving my stop to break even. I'll be putting on a trailing stop. I'll take off half my position, is really, really important, because I feel like it's something, again, that I've covered in some of the material I've done for BluFx, some of the content I put out. It's like minimizing those losses and protecting those profits. I always liken it to football, right? Like being a goalkeeper versus being an offensive player. If you save a goal, it's just as important as scoring a goal, because at the end of the day, it means that you're one up or one down, etc. So it's really important to protect those profits and keep the balance in your account, because everybody can have a winning day, but we're talking about long-term profitability over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, however long your trading career is going to be. So it's good to hear that you have that in check. And to talk about trading psychology in general, do you think greed is something that affects a lot of traders? You think, because I feel like a lot of these things are tied back to like the human psychology, the human condition, and I've read into it quite a lot as part of my like trading journey. Like humans are designed to act in a certain way. That's like through nature, just like the rest of the animals in the animal kingdom. Do you think that obviously you trade it within the rules of a system? How important is it for you to stick within that system so you're not letting your psychology like come into play?
It's very important, my friend. It's very, very important. Otherwise, I've blown a few accounts, and there's always even trading with BluFx these days. I do have a fear inside about losing the 10%, and then BluFx might shut down my account. At least I can get back on it and everything. Even when they do a feature about getting reimbursed to your original amount.
Of course.
Even I feel like I don't want to go there, but there's something that I can do. I have an option, but I don't want to go in the minus, and I don't want to. Well, that's something that would maybe in the mind it's gonna stay there, that I've made this amount of loss, and I've made I haven't lost my own money. I've lost BluFx's money. So it's like managing someone else's fund, isn't it?
Exactly that, yeah. It's like, I think to explain to people who are watching who don't understand, what we're talking about now is the refinancing option as part of BluFx, which means that if you go 10% below that starting balance of your account, you pay a flat fee, £50, and we top it right back up to where you started. And the reason why we do that is, well, it's all about psychology. And I think a lot of the BluFx platform is built around psychology of the system in general. Now, what I mean to say is we're trying to minimize those fear of losing in general, realistically. And we want our traders to trade it in the best possible conditions. So that is the reason why we do that. Now, moving on to the next question. I want to cut up a bit about your trading style in general. Is it is it price action? Is it indicators? Is it candlestick patterns? And is there any kind of currency pair that you like the most, that you have the most success with? Tell me about
that. I love gold. I love trading gold, and gold is the mostly traded commodity that I use. I like to trade currencies with USD in it because of the volatility. And I've seen in my past that the news events does cause a havoc on the charts.
Yeah.
Candlesticks, I do understand candlesticks. I do work on candlesticks as well. I do have a couple of strategies that use the candlesticks, so I do look at them closely. Moving averages I use, a few other indicators I use, divergence, to see the divergence, and I think moving averages alongside the candlesticks are the main ones that will make me put on a trade.
I think with indicators, I mean, I'm an indicator guy. I say it on every interview we come on, but it's just like sometimes less is more with indicators. I feel like moving averages are really, really valuable. And a lot of other indicators in general, we're talking about, thousands of indicators available to the market. They're built on the same principles as a moving average, like as far as the formula is calculated. So moving averages are really, really powerful, and you can use them in so many different ways. with like maybe if the candlestick crosses over the moving average, you want to take a short, or if the two moving averages cross over. They're very, very versatile in their use case.
Yeah.
But as for like building your own system, I feel like with trading, we all find a way that suits us personally. You know, we've discussed already how you're working full time. We discussed already how you've got other commitments, and you found a way to fit that into your day-to-day life. And looks like from your performance in the past couple of months, you're having some great success doing it. Now, if you don't mind me asking, the money that you make from trading, do you have a place for that money? Is it going into a business? Is it for you just to spend? Is it for your family? Is there anything you're doing in particular with the money?
Yeah, I mean, I have plans with BluFx. I mean, if it all goes well, I'm currently on the light account,
Mm,
um, just because when I started, I thought I'm gonna test the waters basically,
right.
and I've hit the 5%, and hopefully end of this week we're gonna receive our payouts, and I think this one's gonna be treating the family. To be honest,
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, it's
I've,
definitely the time for it.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, it's funny you should mention that because this month coming up, it's a couple of days now is payday for our traders here at BluFx, and I think it's one of the most, it's a record breaking month for payouts. I think we've got a record breaking month of payouts. Our traders are doing so well this month, and obviously you're amongst those people. But it's so lovely to hear that you're using that money. Sometimes it's just nice to kick back. That money you've made is surplus, and you can choose to spend it however you wish. This month you're going to spend it on the family. Next month, who knows? But you have that flexibility and the freedom to do that with BluFx. So it's great to hear. Now, one last question before we wrap things up. I always ask people who come on the show when I'm interviewing them, what one piece of advice would they give to someone who's joining the BluFx platform? Is there something you tell them? Is there something you tell them to be careful of? Just a piece of advice in general that will help them succeed in the same way that you have on the platform.
I think people should come on to BluFx. Not necessarily. They don't. I mean, it's every individual's choice, but I reckon BluFx is someone who can help a trader who has not got enough funding for themselves.
Mm,
I've tried with big amounts and I've blown accounts. Then I tried with small amounts of money in the account. I've blown that as well. Now that I'm trading BluFx's money, I have this mentality about I don't think like, oh, it's not my money. I always take it as if it's my own money.
mm.
And I've got a lump sum of $25,000. And I've always believed that money can make money. So I can use that and to make more money. And then there's always, I mean, we constantly get emails from customer services and helplines, emails. I got, any problems, you guys are always there to help out. You guys are always there to refinance if needs to. Um, Payouts. When I done this is my first withdrawal, and when I done it, I didn't have a single issue about who to ask for or how to fill up the form. And
Mm.
if I had a question, I emailed you, and then the following day I got an email back saying, okay, we need this information, that information. Straightforward. Everything's so simple, and I'm sure people who would go on with you, if they stay with you for a couple of months, we all work together as one big team, and everyone's going to be successful, man. Everyone can have a piece of cake.
That's it, man. I'm glad to hear it. Well, thank you for joining me in an interview. I will catch you very soon, but best of luck in your trading. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, all the
Thanks
best.
for having me as well.